124,000 displaced from Gaza in just a few days. And also 9 dead in Colombia airstrikes on drug cartel. Salam Malaysia Berdari, I'm Brendan Lepal. The United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees, UNRWA, has reported that 124,000 people have been displaced from the Gaza Strip within just a few days, following intensified Israeli bombardments. In a post on its X platform, UNRWA stated families carry what little they have with no shelter, no safety and nowhere left to go. The agency warned that the ongoing siege has blocked all humanitarian aid, leading to acute shortages of food and surging prices, describing the situation in Gaza as a humanitarian catastrophe. The renewed airstrikes, which began last Tuesday morning, mark a breach of the ceasefire agreement brokered on 19 December through Egyptian, Qatari and American mediation. 9 members of Colombia's biggest drug cartel were killed in government airstrikes. President Gustavo Petro, who is battling the worst violence in a decade, said Tuesday. The strikes of the Gulf clan took place in a gold mining region in northwestern Antioquia department, one of the group's strongholds. Petro accused the cartel unit targeting in his attack of ambushing of Special Forces members and murdering a local mining leader, Jaime Gallejo. Writing on X, the president added that the security forces had captured a Gulf clan member and seized 13 rifles. The Gulf clan was born out of the right-wing paramilitary groups that fought left-wing guerrillas in the 1990s, sometimes in cahoots with drug traffickers before laying down arms in the 2000s. Petro, Colombia's first left-wing president, launched peace talks with the Gulf clan and several other armed groups after coming to power in 2022. But the talks with the Gulf clan quickly collapsed, and his broader peace process were left in disarray as left-wing guerrillas and cartels stepped up their turf wars for territory and cocaine trafficking routes. The United States, US and Russia agreed to work out steps to implement the agreement between Presidents Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin to ban strikes on energy infrastructure in Russia and Ukraine. The White House in a statement stated the agreement was reached through recent discussions in Riyadh. The discussions in Saudi Arabia continued on Monday, leading to another significant development and agreement to safeguard maritime security in the Black Sea. According to the White House, both sides committed to ensuring safe navigation, banning the use of force and preventing the use of commercial vessels for military purposes in the Black Sea region. The US agreed to assist in restoring Russia's access to international markets, including reducing maritime insurance costs and improving port access and payment systems for such transactions. Trump National Security Advisor Mike Waltz took responsibility for the leak about strikes on Yemen in a Signal chat that included a journalist from The Atlantic and called the leak embarrassing. During an interview with Fox News on Tuesday, the U.S. National Security Advisor confirmed he created the chat where highly sensitive details were posted about imminent U.S. strikes on Yemen and said those were not classified.
Look, I take full responsibility. I built the group. My job is to make sure everything's coordinated. You got somebody else's number on someone else's contact, so of course I didn't see this loser in the group.
The administration of President Donald Trump has attempted to manage the repercussions of a revealing article published on Monday by the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic. The article disclosed that he was part of a group chat on the encrypted messaging platform Signal, which included Trump's top national security advisors, aimed at coordinating efforts regarding Yemen. Still, Trump's administration said on Tuesday that no classified information was shared in the chat. And in other news, Japan's Emperor Naruhito hosted a banquet for Brazil's President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva at the Imperial Palace in Tokyo on Tuesday. Lula and his wife, who arrived in Japan on Monday for a 4-day state visit, are being hosted by Emperor Naruhito and Empress Masako as state guests. During a speech at the beginning of the banquet, Lula called Japan and Brazil's strategic partners that share values including democracy and sustainable development.
Muitos brasileiros também atravessaram o mundo para viver no Japão e hoje representam uma comunidade expressiva cuja força criativa soma-se ao espírito inovador japonês. Majestades, Japão e Brasil são parceiros estratégicos. Compartilhamos valores como a democracia, a paz, o multilateralismo e o desenvolvimento sustentável.
According to a Brazilian government spokesperson, Lula is expected to meet Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba at the Akasaka Palace today and sign bilateral agreements before departing the following day. Lula will travel to Hanoi, Vietnam on Thursday for the second part of his trip to Asia. Anti-government protests in Istanbul continued into the night on Tuesday as protesters vowed to keep up demonstrations against the jailing of Istanbul Mayor Ekrem İmamoğlu. At the main nightly protest, a few hundred demonstrators chanted and faced off with hundreds of white helmeted riot police. Since the arrest of Mayor İmamoğlu last week, hundreds of thousands of people have gathered in squares, streets and university campuses nationwide each evening, chanting anti-Erdogan slogans and calling for İmamoğlu's release, justice and rights. The court jailed İmamoğlu on Sunday pending trial on corruption charges, which he denies. Protesters, opposition parties, European leaders and rights groups have called the detention of İmamoğlu, the main rival of Recep Tayyip Erdogan, a politicized and anti-democratic move. The gatherings are banned but have carried on nonetheless, almost entirely peacefully until the late hours when police have used clubs and pepper spray in response to projectiles and arrested more than 1,400 people. The death toll from a wave of wildfires in the southeastern region of South Korea has risen to 18. A Ministry of Safety official said additionally 6 people were seriously injured and 13 suffered minor injuries. South Korea's acting president Han Duck-soo said deadly wildfires raging in the southeast have caused unprecedented damage and exceeded all prediction models. Firefighters continue to face challenges in controlling the rapidly spreading fires. The fires that began in Sancheong County last Friday have spread to neighboring Andong, Cheongsong and Yongyang, fueled by strong and dry winds. In Yongyang, 4 victims were found burned to death on the road at around 11 p.m. on Tuesday. The engulfing flames also destroyed Gonsa Temple, an ancient temple built during the Silla dynasty. National treasures stored in the temple had been relocated to other locations. Thousands of firefighters and dozens of helicopters and vehicles were deployed to fight the blazes. Since last Friday, the military has deployed some 5,000 service members and 146 helicopters to help combat the wildfires raging in the southeastern region. A motorcyclist who plunged into a 20-meter deep sinkhole in Seoul, South Korea, was found dead on Tuesday. A fire rescue official said, while the driver of a car had a narrow escape and suffered minor injuries. The body of the 33-year-old man was found about 50 meters from where he had fallen. It was found in a subway tunnel under construction almost 20 meters from the surface. It took rescuers almost 18 hours to locate the motorcyclist after they had to pump out water and dig through dirt, as well as navigate past construction equipment and other debris. The exact cause of death had not yet been determined. City officials said the cause of the collapse is under investigation. Dashboard camera footage showed the car bouncing violently as its rear wheels narrowly cleared the hole, followed by the motorcycle plunging into the chasm.
Welcome to On the Table. Obviously, there are two main engines of growth in any economies. What are the implications of Malaysia's growth on employment, income levels, and also standard of living per population?
From a historical perspective, it's been good.
The capacity in our country can be built to be in the same level as the world standards.
MITI to cooperate in NVIDIA chip fraud case. Stay tuned. The NVIDIA AI chip fraud case, which is allegedly linked to Malaysia, is still under investigation. The Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry, MITI, is fully cooperating with the investigation team. MITI Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Abdul Aziz said the investigation team consists of MITI, along with relevant agencies including the Royal Malaysia Police, the Royal Malaysian Customs Department and the Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission. He emphasised that any updates regarding the case would be communicated to the media. On 3rd of March, MITI in a statement said that it was investigating allegations of NVIDIA AI chips in servers linked to a fraud case being moved from Singapore to Malaysia. Singapore media reported that the chips were said to have been embedded in servers supplied by Dell and Supermicro to a Singapore-based company before being moved to Malaysia.
There are NVIDIA chips under export imported by data.
The weighted real gross domestic product GDP growth rate of Asia is projected to reach 4.5% in 2025, an increase from 4.4% in 2024. Powell Forum for Asia reported, despite increasing global economic uncertainty, Asia has remained as a key growth engine for the world economy. At purchasing power parity, the ratio of Asia's GDP among the global total is expected to rise from 48.1% in 2024 to 48.6% in 2025. The overall situation of employment and income in turning upwards in Asia, with its unemployment rate projected at 4.39% in 2025. This rate lower than the global rate of 4.96%. The European Union, EU, will adopt a directive by the end of 2030 to introduce digital driving licenses accessible via mobile phones or other digital devices. The European Commission said the updated directive will also revise minimum driver suitability standards across EU member states and harmonize probationary periods for new drivers. According to the Commission, the new rules aim to reduce road accidents and ease administrative burdens for both citizens and authorities. A key feature of the update includes the launch of an EU-wide accompanied driving program for individuals aged 17 and above, a measure proven to enhance road safety. Those who prefer a physical version of their license will still be able to obtain one. If the license also functions as an identity card, it will be valid for 10 years. For those using it solely as a driving permit for cars and motorcycles, the validity will be 15 years. The EU Transport Commissioner stated these updated driving license rules mark a major step forward in modernizing licensing system and enhancing road safety across the regional bloc. Sharjah Airport has announced it is fully prepared for the expected increase in air traffic during the Eid al-Fitr holiday season. The airport in the United Arab Emirates, UAE, is expected to handle over 500,000 passengers and operate 3,344 flights between 27 March and 6 April. The Sharjah Airport Authority (SAA) has announced that all operational and logistical arrangements have been completed in collaboration with strategic partners and relevant entities. This is aimed at ensuring efficient operations and providing travellers with a seamless experience that meets the highest international standards. As part of a comprehensive operational plan, the SAA has deployed sufficient human resources across all key areas, with a particular focus on strengthening customer service teams to provide immediate support to travellers. All facilities and support services have been fully prepared to reflect the airport's standing as a leading regional aviation hub. Sharjah Airport also continues to enhance its digital journey by promoting the use of smart technologies that enable quicker and more efficient check-in procedures. This digital push is part of the airport's broader transformation strategy, aimed at delivering a fully integrated and technology-driven travel experience.
Hai, bersama-sama kami Awatar AI Berita RTM, saya Aaron Lim.
Dan saya Cik Rita. Musim perayaan ini kami ada sedikit pesanan.
Sebelum keluar dari rumah, pastikan pintu dan tingkap dikunci. Jangan lupa tutup suis dan paip air juga.
Periksa kenderaan dulu sebelum memulakan perjalanan.
Rancang perjalanan dan sentiasa berhati-hati ketika memandu. Pakai tali pinggang keledar dan elakkan penggunaan telefon bimbit.
Kalau rasa penat atau mengantuk, rehat sekejap di R&R yang disediakan atau berhenti di tempat yang selamat.
Pantau juga anak-anak kecil ketika berhari raya. Adik-adik, jangan main mercun. Bahaya.
Hari raya memanglah makanan sedap-sedap, tapi makan kena beringat juga. Kurangkan makanan berlemak dan bergula.
Akhir sekali, pada hari raya ini, hargai setiap detik bersama yang tersayang.
Pesanan ikhlas daripada kami di RTM, teman setia anda. Selamat Hari Raya Aidilfitri. Maaf zahir dan batin. Syukuri Syawal.
Syukuri Syawal.
And coming up in sports, Malaya beat Nepal in Asian Cup qualifiers. Stay with us. The national football team's revolution began in a promising fashion when the Malaya defeated Nepal 2-0 in their opening Group F match of the 2027 Asian Cup qualifiers at the Sultan Ibrahim Stadium Tuesday night. Heritage player Hector Havel introduced himself to local fans in style when he put Malaysia 1-0 up in the first half before defender Corbin Ong doubled their lead after the break. Although Malaysia, under the guidance of new head coach Peter Klimowski, dominated the game and controlled the tempo of the match with slick passes and structured moves, they still found it hard to breach Nepal's defence, especially in the first half. Malaysia finally broke the deadlock when Havel, the Dutch-born midfielder who only joined up with the national team last week, let fly a screamer from outside the box that ended up in the back of the net after taking a wicked deflection off a Nepali defender in the 29th minute. Malaysia were not to be denied a second goal when Corbin, left unmarked at the far post, tapped home a neat cross from the left from Arif Aiman in the 71st minute. Apart from the winning start, another positive to take from the game was the sight of nippy winger Muhammad Faisal Abdul Halim making his first appearance in the Malaya jersey since the acid attack last May, as he replaced skipper Dion Cools with less than 20 minutes to go. Malaysia's next outing will see them welcoming Vietnam on 10 of June before travelling to Laos on 9 October. And national head coach Peter Klimowski was full of praise for his Malaya players after Malaysia secured a 2-0 victory over Nepal in their Asian Cup 2027 qualifiers Group F opener at the Sultan Ibrahim Stadium Tuesday night. The Australian coach at the post-match press conference said that despite having limited time to prepare, his men managed to translate their training sessions into a solid performance on the pitch. However, he admitted that there's still room for improvement ahead of their upcoming matches.
It was a good performance. I'm proud of the players. They gave everything to the game. it connected to everything we did in the training camp. It wasn't such a long training camp, so we didn't have much time, but players gave everything physically all week and were very focused mentally as well all week, and it connects to a really strong performance tonight as a team. And played some good football, created some good spaces for ourselves, many good chances. On another night, maybe we score more goals. But good thing we're creating chances. Scored 2 goals, kept a clean sheet, take the 3 points, and we know we have more work to do.
Meanwhile, Nepal head coach Matt Ross accepted the fact that his team lost to a superior opponent and that the gap in quality between Malaysia and his team was evident in the match.
Yeah, we struggled in the first period of the game to get to grips with the wing-backs from Malaysia. That's why I changed to a back 5 very quickly, that we could cope with the width and the speed of play from Malaysia. And a deflection, yeah, it's unlucky, but I think we slightly improved after we went to the back 5. Not in the sense of what we did with the ball, but defensively we looked more solid, more compact. But it was very difficult to get out.
Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim has given the green light and opportunity to Minister of Investment, Trade and Industry, Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz, to take over as the new President of the Badminton Association of Malaysia, BAM, for the 2025-2029 term. The development was confirmed by Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul, who informed that Datuk Seri Anwar had considered his nomination to steer BAM, as his term as Minister will end this December. Earlier today, BAM Acting President Datuk V. Subramaniam announced that the majority of BAM Council members had reached a consensus to nominate Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul as the new president. Datuk Subramaniam said the nomination reflected the need for strong and stable leadership to drive the association forward.
We have to look at the larger picture of BAM. There is no individual, interest here. For me, there is no personal interest. You see, I was elected. I've served in BAM. I've served in the badminton fraternity from 1988. I am not new to the field, right? So I am always very contented person. I want to see BAM grow, not individual. So when we look at the larger picture, we looked at it very carefully. I have agreed that it is only a right person should lead BAM. We are there. We will be there to assist.
The BAM election is scheduled to take place on 10th May during the annual general meeting, AGM, of the country's badminton governing body. Last August, the cabinet had decided that members of the government administration, including ministers and deputy ministers, should not contest for positions in any sports association. Back in football, South Korea were held by Jordan 1-1 at home Tuesday for their 3rd consecutive draw in the ongoing World Cup qualification round, failing to step forward an early berth in the big tournament after squandering a first-half lead. Lee Jae-sung had the match's first goal for South Korea in the 5th minute at Suwon World Cup Stadium in Suwon, some 30 kilometers south of Seoul, in the Group B match in the 3rd round of the Asian World Cup qualification. But Jordan equalized in the 30th minute on Mahmoud Al-Mardi's strike, and the two sides couldn't solve the deadlock over the next 60-plus minutes. With the draw, South Korea managed to stay atop Group B with 16 points from 4 wins and 4 draws, 3 points ahead of Jordan. South Korea's final 2 matches of the 3rd round will be against Iraq on 5th June, in Basra, and Kuwait on 10 June at home. There are 3 groups of 6 in this round, and the top 2 from each group will qualify for the 2026 World Cup in Canada, Mexico, and the United States. Teams ranked 3rd and 4th will move on to the 4th round. And in tennis, Novak Djokovic won 12 of the last 14 games of his match against Lorenzo Musetti to crush the Italian 6-2, 6-2 and reached the quarterfinals of the Miami Open in his best performance since the Australian Open. The momentum in the match The momentum in the rain-delayed match, seemed to swing in Djokovic's favour when he complained to the chair umpire in the opening set over a serve clock warning. That frustration seemed to spark the Serbian, who broke the next game for a 4-2 advantage and never looked back in the presence of an adoring crowd. Six-time champion Djokovic crushed an exquisite backhand winner for a 5-2 second set lead and sealed the win when Musetti double faulted on match point. Next up, for fourth-seeded Djokovic is American Sebastian Korda, who prevailed 6-4 to 6-6-4 over veteran Frenchman Gael Monfils earlier in the day. Due to the rain delay, the Korda-Monfils match took longer to resume because the stadium court is inside Hard Rock Stadium and sits above the grass football field, so it remained moist and a bit slippery. Korda lost the thrilling three-setter to 24-time Grand Slam champion Djokovic in their only previous meeting in the Adelaide final in 2023. Six-seed Jasmine Paolini breezed past Poland's Magda Linette 6-3, 6-2 on Tuesday to reach the last four of the Miami Open. In doing so, Paolini became the first Italian woman to reach the semi-finals of the WTA 1000 event. Top seed Aryna Sabalenka awaits after she beat Olympic champion Zheng Qingwen of China 6-2, 7-5 in the other quarter-final. Paolini, beaten in the finals at Wimbledon and the French Open last year, becomes the first Italian to make it to the last four in Miami. There were 6 instances of Italian women making the quarterfinals there, most recently Martina Trevisan in 2023. After rain delayed the match by 2 hours, Paolini saw her serve broken in the first game of the first set, but soon found her groove, saving all 7 break points she next faced while converting 66% of her own. It took just 77 minutes for Paolini to take care of business against Linette, who had progressed into the quarters with a surprise win over Coco Gauff. Paolini, who is looking for a second title at the WTA 1000 level after last year's triumph in Dubai, looked confident and said she had known her form would start to bring her results.
Melaksanakan misi, mempertahan maruah, mencipta secara setia, bertemu, mengatakan cinta dengan pasangan, membuat peluang terus tegakkan satu perjuangan, satu suara akan yang direncana di dada dalam memburu takkan keraguan, kekuatan bicara.
And that's it from us this afternoon. In our top story, 124,000 displaced from Gaza in just a few days. Malaysia Tonight comes on at 8:30 p.m. this evening on TV1 and MyTV's Berita RTM news channel. Till then, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. I'm Brendan Lepore. Thanks for watching. Take care.